All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. I'm BMillzebub, and welcome to my channel. For tonight's Apostate interviews, I am guesting with Shinabu7. How you doing, Shinabu?
Doing all right. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. That was a little bit of a fun technical difficulty we had. We couldn't find you on Hangouts for some crazy reason. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, where to start? I guess. Well, this is an apostate interview. I was raised a Lutheran till I was about 18 or 19, and then I sort of just kind of fell away from it. I guess not necessarily an atheist or whatever, more of a deist kind of thing, until I started finding more atheist related stuff on YouTube. Stuff like The Amazing Atheist, Armored Skeptic, Thunderfoot, that kind of stuff. And then I really started getting into it and discovered more and more and more. And then I really started to get more anti religious, I guess.
All right. What's going on in the background there, buddy?
Sorry. I'm in the car.
I don't think I've ever heard cars make that sound.
Snowy roads, and it's not really well plowed out here.
That'll do it.
Yep. Sorry.
That's all right. So you said you were a Lutheran?
Yep.
All right. Like on the spectrum of fundamentalist, how were you like not very fundamentalist at all, or were you like biblical creationists?
I was kind of one of those Christians that tried to hit that like middle road where it's like, yeah, God created everything, but Earth is still really old. The Earth isn't 6,000 years old. Evolution is still a thing. It's the process that God created to make everything work. That kind of thing. Kind of have my cake and eat it too.
All right. So you said content creators on YouTube are what really kind of convinced you that the whole God and religion thing is not factual. Were there any particularly good arguments that stuck out in your mind, or?
Well, maybe I misspoke there. They were what got me more into being anti-religion, anti-belief, being against it. Really more, I started to read the Bible in college because when I moved out and went to school, away from church, away from family, small town, there weren't any Lutheran churches in town. There was a Catholic church and I think a Methodist church. And I didn't want to go to either of those. So I just sort of did Bible studies to myself, and without teachers or a pastor leading everything, I actually read all of it. And that's when I started seeing all the horrible, evil shit that's written in there. Then I was kind of like, that's the shit that I sort of believe in, used to believe in. That's a little insane. This book seems kind of fucked up. And I started looking at other religions a little bit, more, Jewish and Islam, kind of, and they were just as messed up too. Started looking at a couple of Eastern religions, and all those were messed up as well. So I was like, you know what? I guess I don't believe that any of these gods could actually be a thing, because all their followers claim that they're good and they love you and everything. So I pretty much just went with it. I didn't even know what an atheist was until I got on YouTube and started finding those content creators.
All right. So the quote, the path to atheism is littered with well-read Bibles, really kind of applies to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotta love that, man. So,
Hmm.
so what would you say that some of the best arguments that led you towards more anti-theism were?
Um, well, the one that pops into my head is there was this man who died. I can't remember his name or where it was. It was somewhere in America. He died, Christian family, and then he left behind his wife and two kids, a daughter and a son. The daughter was like 10, 11 or something. She killed herself and left a note behind for her family that said, I miss daddy so much, I want to go see him in heaven. And then when they asked the mother about those two deaths, she said, the only thing that's stopping me from doing it is her son that was still alive. And
Jeez.
yeah.
No, that actually is a pretty solid argument right there.
Hmm.
You know,
And there's,
I mean, there's no way that's the only story of its sort. You know, so
I doubt it.
you know, but yeah. So I'm not too terribly familiar with the Lutheran Church. I know that is it Lutherans? I think that claim to still be Catholics, but they're true Catholics, not like Roman Catholics or Catholics.
Um, I think that's probably about right. They obviously Martin Luther in the 95 Theses nailed on the door of the church, but he was more against the taking like the bones of the apostles and putting them on display and charging people to go see them.
Yeah, the
And with
Holy Roll
the
thing.
yeah, he didn't like that stuff. What were you? What were you
I was Catholic.
originally?
I was Roman
Catholic? Oh,
Catholic.
okay. Yeah. Well, then you know the what is it? The 9 or 10 tenets of Catholicism: the baptism, catechism, uh, communion, confession, and there were a couple others.
Yeah, all those sacraments, that fun stuff.
And well, I was taught that Lutherans claim to only have two of those tenets, which is baptism and communion. However, at the church that I went to, they actually did have basically catechism, but they called it confirmation. So during your junior high years, seventh and eighth grade, you would just follow these lesson plans, and they would say read Genesis 1:1 to Genesis 2:16 or whatever. And then you'd have a little worksheet, just like in school, to fill out with questions about what you read. And of course, they skipped around to avoid the stuff that would make someone in junior high go, this is fucking weird.
That's funny because it's actually at about that same time that I started going through the confirmation process. They call it that in the Catholic Church as well. Not everyone calls it catechism.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a really similar process. It's a education, to use the word really loosely. I mean, is it education if you're being taught bunk? I mean, come on.
unless you plan on being a theologian, not really.
Yeah. And even then, what's the fucking point? But, uh, you
To
know,
argue on the internet, come on.
yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah. But so you guys did communion. Were you like Roman Catholics and believe that it literally transubstantiates into the body and blood of Jesus?
Nope, it was purely symbolic, at least at the church I went to. I don't know about other Lutheran churches. In America, there are two main like subsets of Lutheran. There's the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, and then there's the Missouri Synod. I was ELCA, and at least at ELCA churches, they didn't believe in the transubstantiation.
Okay, so not as crazy as Catholics then. Um,
Not saying much.
it's a little bit of a low bar. I mean, Yeah.
I'm
All
sorry,
you
you're
have to
cutting
do
out a
is.
little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. All you really have to do is watch my criticisms of the Catholic Church, and I've only got like 6 or 7 episodes of that out right now, and it's already pretty deep levels of batshit. um, but, and I mean, normally I'd ask, if you had a channel to plug, but I don't think you do.
Nope, I don't have a YouTube channel. The only reason I started Twitter was because of podcasts and stuff I follow. They usually put out updates and whatnot on Twitter. And then it sucked me in with all the evolution and flat earthers and
Oh God.
whatnot. Because, of course, the podcasts I watch were skeptics and atheists and uh, liberals and whatnot. So they would always retweet stuff from people on the internet. And I'd be like, oh, okay.
Hell, I don't know how people like Godless Engineer do the whole flat Earth thing. I don't know how he has the patience, because I can't stand even thinking about those people for more than 3 seconds. But I don't know. To each their own. That seems to be his niche.
Well, he's good at it, so stick with what you're good at, I
Yeah,
guess.
he is really good at it, but holy damn. Dude is way more patient than me when it comes to that kind of absurdity.
Yeah.
Oh, so other than the Bible, did you do anything to sort of kick the religious habit, or?
Um, I don't really think so. I did sort of start looking more into scientific things, since I already sort of had a weird mishmash of both religious and scientific ideas when I was religious. I was like, okay, so let's check out the other side. And of course, that just started reinforcing everything because I already believed most of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything too like in that moment or anything. I'd have to describe it as more of a slow process. Probably happened over a year or two, just slowly chipping away at it. And then eventually there was nothing left to chip away at.
All right. So, was there any particular part of the Bible that really kind of made you go, "This is bullshit"? Like any of the various genocides that God either commits or commands, biblical or contradictions in the Bible?
Well, a pretty good contradiction was between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. The order of creation is different in both chapters. Uh, and then there's the whole the flood, the biblical flood. Of course, I never necessarily believed that completely. I thought that maybe it was more of something local, which apparently there actually was a localized flood in the Iraqi floodplain, with like Gilgamesh and other stories like that are based off of. But
Well, I mean, it makes sense that a flood would occur in a floodplain, though. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
of course I didn't know that until after I left and actually started looking into stuff more. And of course, there's all the laws of Moses, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, all that crazy shit, slavery. Your daughter has to marry her rapist, and he's got to pay you. Uh, and even funnier is the bitter water in Numbers, I believe it is, that you make your wife drink if you think she's cheating on you, so she can have an abortion, unless it's your
Yeah.
kid. Which was funny because it was always pounded into my head as a kid, abortion's bad, abortion's bad, abortion's bad. Then why
Same.
the hell does it say that?
Well,
God's telling you right here, give your wife an abortion.
yeah, it's almost like they don't read their own book.
Well, I can tell you they don't, because I didn't until later.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go to Bible studies, when I was a teenager, and going to my church's youth ministry, and we'd sort of dip our toe into the shittier parts of the Bible, but we'd never actually dive head first. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
sort of kept us away from that. So it wasn't until I started giving the Bible actually a read. Because one of the favorite ways one of the youth ministers we had to describe the Bible was a love story. It's a love story between us and God, where God commands like 16, I don't know exactly how many genocides, but he commands or commits a shitload of genocide. Yeah, that screams love to me.
Yeah, exactly. I love you, but if you don't love me, I'll kill you. Yeah, they never, even in a youth group in high school, they never tried to move us anywhere near the bad shit. They pretty much just kept to the same stuff that they were giving you back in Sunday school and in confirmation. About the closest I think something organized religion-wise ever got to mentioning that was there's a thing called Leadership Lab that the ELCA does every year. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
Yeah, I kind of figured. But they were doing the 40 years in the desert as one of the days. They tackled different sections of the Bible on different days, and it was a whole week-long summer high school kids camp or whatever. And when they were covering the desert, they actually did mention the Canaanites, the Amalekites, the Ammonites, all those different places that the Israelites went through and destroyed because God told them to. Ironically, right after he told them, "Thou shalt not kill."
Well, hell, immediately after, well, this is the first set of 10 Commandments, so I don't know if that really counts, but Moses came down and saw everyone worshiping a golden calf and commanded everyone to kill each other.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well, they've always got something to explain it away. Oh, they deserved to die because they were worshiping a golden calf. Or, oh, these people deserved to have their town torn down and everyone killed because it was the promised land. And you got to go in and take the promised land because, God can't just snap his fucking fingers and do it for you.
Oh, of course not. But I mean, if you really wanted to flip the first argument on your head, they were worshiping the wrong thing. Are we going to start murdering people for not worshiping your version of God? I mean, is that okay with you? The answer is probably going to be no, typically. Like, oh, no, well, of course not, but you just said. You literally just said.
Well, then usually they just turn around and say, oh, no, we're not going to kill them. We're going to wait until they die. And then, the ones who are worshiping the wrong version of my God, he's going to throw them in hell. It's their fault.
Of course.
Don't all of them have that sort of thing? Like, I know the one I know for sure, Pentecostals, they actually think that if you're not Pentecostal, you don't even necessarily have to be a good person. If you're just a Pentecostal and you die, you're guaranteed into heaven because you're Pentecostal.
Yeah, it's faith, not works, is the whole thing. Despite the book of James directly saying not only by faith, but also good works. Oops.
Another one of those damn contradictions.
Don't read their book.
Nope. Just cherry pick and cherry pick. Make everything sound good to sell it.
Pretty much. But oh. Down in the comments, Christy said smart churches have moved to more humanism in their Sunday morning topics. Feel good stories and straight up humanism with a side of magical thinking. Pretty much.
Yeah. What are those called? The Unitarians are the ones that go more towards the humanism.
The Unitarians, I'm pretty sure, have the most secular kind of thing, I guess you could say. Compelled Unbeliever would actually probably be the better guy to talk to, because I'm pretty sure, despite being an atheist, he goes to a Unitarian thing on Sundays.
Huh.
Yeah, so he'd be the guy to talk to about that.
Yeah.
But all right. So, what other arguments from content creators brought you to anti-theism?
Oh shit. Damn, I almost think like I should have prepared for this or something. Damn. Well, I don't know necessarily about more leading me towards atheism, but
no, I meant anti-theism. Sorry.
Oh, anti-theism. Well, usually just more stories kind of related to that other one with the little girl. Oddly enough, there were actually some content creators that actually changed more political views that didn't switch after I left, like on abortion and whatnot, because I used to be more the rape, incest, life of the mother. But then I watched an episode of The Atheist Experience, and Matt Dillahunty and Jen, I can't remember her name, Jen something, they went on a call with this one guy, and they just laid down this huge argument, just put this dude right in his place. Of course, he was completely pro-life. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh shit, they're right. Yeah, and a lot of it was actually more driving me towards anti-theism, was actually more towards with the politics, like how it influences politics, and how, they're trying to pass this bill not because it would be good for the country or the state or whatever. They're passing it because they're basing it off of their book for no other reason.
Yeah, which is something they're definitely not supposed to do.
Oh yeah, like that shit in Ohio, trying to mandate motherhood.
Yeah, that's never mind the fact that that's gonna directly spit in the face of Supreme Court decisions. Forget that.
Well, they could probably just overturn those now. They got a Republican majority on it, so they'll probably just take it up the hill and be like, hey, change this.
Of course, it's not a terribly short road to the Supreme Court. You have to go through all the intermediary courts, the lower courts on up to the state Supreme Court. Then you can go to the actual Supreme Court of the country. But
yeah, that's about the only good thing with it.
Yeah. Well, so considering this just happened, in between my last Apostate interview and now, I'm curious about what you think of the American missionary, John Allen Chow, who was killed by the Sentinelese.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, I read that he was planning this for like 3 years prior, knew it was illegal, and knew it was basically a death wish to go there.
I heard he already tried to go once.
Yeah, it was. I was listening to the Thinking Atheist. He just posted a thing yesterday, and I think he tried to go the day before, but apparently his Bible caught one of the arrows that was fired at him.
Okay.
Saving his life. So
That just tempers his God's protecting me. I'll go back again and I won't die this time.
yeah. Well, I don't believe in fate, but there's a saying: "Don't tempt fate." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right?
And
You
if
should have
if
taken
there's
that more as a warning.
yeah. Especially since in 2006 there were a couple of fishermen who were murdered by this tribe, and a helicopter from the Coast Guard that flew overhead. you know, the helicopter that flew overhead was riddled with arrows.
Yeah, they like throwing shit and shooting shit and anything. They want nothing to do with the outside world. And
Yeah, it's
honestly, with
just
how separated they are, I think we should just leave them alone. Because hell, you sneeze on them and they're all going to die probably.
yeah. This John Allen Chow guy, let's see, he actually got onto the island, and some of the tribesmen actually dragged him further away.
So that they couldn't just come up and get the body.
No, I mean like further away from where they lived, but
Oh, okay.
the problem is they're touching his bare bloody skin with their bare hands. It's not like they've got gloves they can put on to protect themselves from that sort of thing.
Yeah. Who knows what might
Yeah.
get on you?
Yeah, so there's a fairly decent chance, I would assume, that some members of this tribe are going to get sick with something they have no immunity for.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm honestly kind of surprised they've made it this long in the way everything is nowadays, not having a bunch of people try to go there to do something.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that, the numerous deaths associated with people trying to go there is a pretty compelling argument for most people. But this guy apparently had gone to Oral Roberts University, real fundy.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a college because that's not what it actually is.
Is it even accredited?
Oh, by some church, I'm sure. But
Oh, well, then no.
yeah, you know. But yeah, there's been a bit of backlash kind of going both ways. Actually, um, the only person I've really seen take a stance saying we shouldn't be joking about this is Compelled Unbeliever, because he'd seen some really shitty things coming from atheists. Like what a dumb fuck, he had it coming, that sort of stuff. And
I
he
don't.
he
I don't.
posted a video actually admonishing people that said that, which I actually thought was cool, His
I don't think he deserved to die,
No,
but
but he should have
he,
expected it.
yeah,
That's
especially if he already got shot at the first time and managed to live.
yeah.
It
And
sucks. They're probably never going to get his body back so his family can grieve.
yeah,
But
and yeah, it's just one of those things. And Compelled Unbeliever actually comes from a similar background as this guy. He was a big time fundy, and if he'd had the resources to go there, he might have, So
yeah.
he can definitely see it from the other side. And speaking of the other side, there are certain theists, not gonna name any, but here I go, S.J. Thomason, you know, saying that these savages, she did use that word in a tweet.
Oh, of course she did.
These savages should be brought to justice. Yeah, and it's like, whose laws are we going to try them by? They're their own society.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're not part of the UN or the International Criminal Court. There's
Yeah.
you
They're
can't.
not even part of India.
No,
You
India
know,
tries to stop people from going there because they know what'll happen.
yeah, it's like there's a long history of it, and there's a law in place.
Hmm.
But she calls them savages and demands that they be rounded up and tried. And I'm just wondering, under whose jurisdiction? You know?
Well, since it's SJ, I'd probably say under God's jurisdiction is what she's thinking.
Well, it if anything's gonna happen, nothing on Earth is gonna happen. These people are more or less protected.
Yeah, right.
But if she's right and her God's real, which I sincerely doubt,
Hmm.
they'll get what's coming to them, or possibly not, because there are certain religions out there that say if you genuinely don't know, you can get to heaven. So, either something really bad is going to happen or nothing bad is going to happen to them.
Right.
Either way, no one on earth other than them, because as Christy Santiago just said, they are a sovereign nation.
Yeah, pretty much. You can't really go after a country, I think, country for doing something like that. It'd be like if, someone from America went over to, I don't know, some Germany or something, and some dude stabbed him in the street. Is America going to be able to bring that guy over here to put him to trial, or would Germany be trying him because it was an American citizen that was killed, but it was a German citizen who killed him in Germany?
Oh, I can tell you how that would work. Actually, right now, it would be German jurisdiction, because that's how it would have been while I was stationed over there. If anything happened to me, off base, I should say, it would be Germany's jurisdiction.
Oh,
And
okay.
the US would have nothing to do about it.
Well, then there you go. We have no jurisdiction, and the only people who can do anything about it are the people on that island.
Yeah. And they're not likely to say peep about it, because there's a certain history over there, between the invaders they've had over the centuries. They don't have a very good view of foreigners, so they tend to just kill people.
Well, I guess if it's sort of kept them going the way they're going, I can't really not say they shouldn't, I think. No, no, no. Maybe they should just put a barricade around the island. Just, pull a Cuba on them so no one can get through.
Well, I mean, there should probably be a more solid Coast Guard presence, surrounding the island. But as
Yeah.
far as actually physically blocking off the island, it's going to be that there's just no way. You know what I mean? It's like trying to build a wall on the southern border.
Oh, I don't mean.
It's
No, I'm not talking like. I ain't talking like Trump here. I mean like the embargo we had on Cuba during the Cold War and whatnot. Just a few ships that blocked off their trade routes so nothing could get in or out.
yeah, that would be doable. Just
I mean, it already seems like you kind of can't get there because didn't he have to bribe a fishing trawler to get there?
I think he did. And yeah, that fishing boat stayed offshore, obviously, but they gave him they let him use a boat that they probably didn't think they'd get back.
I'll bet not.
I mean, they got it back the first day, and that was great, but the second day they didn't get so lucky. Particularly this Chow guy really didn't get lucky.
Yeah. Well, those guys better be in prison if they know who they are. You knowingly took him to an island filled with people that have been completely disconnected from the rest of the world. And you also know that it's illegal to go there. And he handed you a couple bucks and you said, oh, okay, fuck the law, and went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah, and knowing full well that these people have a long history of killing anyone, and Beach says they have been arrested, so that's good. So,
Yeah.
so at least those fishermen are gonna see a little bit of justice there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because more than the tribesmen that killed him, I do blame the fishermen because he wouldn't likely have gotten there without them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I don't know how far away that island is, but my guess he probably didn't have enough money to buy his own boat that would make it out there.
Probably. But what would be the point of that? Because it's like part of him had to be thinking this is a one-way trip. I'm not coming back.
Eh,
Because you look at the number of times people have tried to make contact and how many times people have died. You know, it has to be in your head that this is a one-way trip.
yeah, I'm betting that's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. So yeah, he just should have taken his survival the first day, decided, you know what, this isn't going to happen. I'm going to die if I try again, and just gone home.
Yeah. If anybody else tries to do that and the first time they try, their Bible catches an arrow, take it as a sign from your God to go the fuck away.
Yeah.
I'll save your life this time, but if you're stupid enough to go back, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I genuinely don't know what his mindset is. Say that he wanted to preach the gospel or whatever, but no.
Well, that's what some of them are just obsessed with, spreading the word. Like plenty of missionaries that go to Africa, they don't bring food and materials for better housing and money to help with stuff. They go over there with a bunch of Bibles and
Yeah.
hand a bunch of hungry, starving people a Bible and say, "Oh, you don't need food, you need Jesus."
I'm pretty sure they need food. But and never mind, how the hell was he going to communicate with these people? They don't speak English. He doesn't speak Sentinelese or whatever language it is they speak. And
uh,
they definitely can't read English.
yeah.
So what was the game plan there?
I don't know. Maybe he was hoping to get some sort of post Jesus resurrection, Holy Spirit, universal tongue talk.
He might have been one of those Christians.
Yeah.
It's very possibly was. But I don't know, man. I just don't know with some people.
Well, at the very least, hopefully this will just stop anyone else from going.
Hopefully, because this is probably the most well-known story about it, but you never know. Some people out there like SJ just might not let go.
Probably not.
Yeah. It's really hard to say. Uh, Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right. I don't really have a whole lot left because usually I spend at least another 10 minutes on your channel or the person I'm interviewing's channel. But is there anything you want to add? Like any more stories of deconversion or becoming more anti-theist? Anything?
Um, no, I can't really think of anything.
All right. Well, in that case, I think that I'm gonna let you go because I don't really have any more questions for you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah, thanks
Uh,
for inviting me.
yeah. You guys, if you want to follow his Twitter, you'll find the link for that down below. And yeah, give him a follow. He's a pretty cool dude. But yeah. Until next time, guys, I've been BMillzebub. This has been Shinabu7. Am I saying that right, by the way?
Uh,
Shinabu?
yeah, I think so. Some girl called me that in college. My one buddy's girlfriend. She was a weeaboo. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well then. All right. I will see you all later.
See ya.